right back on here. And it's going to be kind of a wavy flag. You know, I like that wavy flag. So we're going to do waves. Then this will be a red stripe. Then we'll do white. And then red. And I'll have to mark them so that I'll remember because I'm crazy. This is actually a Dick Blick canvas, and let me look, I can't remember, I think it's a 6 by 12. So it's one of the Dick Blick 1.5 inch profile. Oh, Judy. So it's the thick canvas, it's 1.5 inch. The yellow, which is the Premier. So it's a 6 by 12. I'm gonna leave that there so I don't forget. So I'm gonna mark my stripes. This one's red, red. So red, white, red, white. And then we'll do just another, and I'm just making them wiggly like they're waving, okay? Red, white, and then red. Ta-da! It's as simple as that. Let's put this back or I'll be losing it. I spent some time today cleaning up my studio because it was a hot mess. So I need to make sure I don't mess it up again. Excuse me. Ugh. Yeah, so dreary. So I've got red, white, and blue. I have Folk Art Imperial Red. I have Americana Deep Midnight Blue. And I have Anita's White. And I also brought some Anita's Metallic Gold. It's classic gold. Just to add a little umph here and there. So we'll see if we use that. But I'm going to go ahead and load my little plate with some color. I'm going to add my red. Whew, that was kind of squirty. And I'm going to do blue. I know, Sharon, me too. I had to clean it up because it was like, oh, I can't work this way. Cannot deal. A little bit of red. We're gonna get some white. And just a smidge of gold. Oh, this white is on my nerves. Hang on. Nebraska. Ooh, when does it get warm in Nebraska, Diana? Ever? Because we've had some 80 degrees days here already. I prefer it. I'm a summer girl. Oh, somebody just sent stars. Thank you. Thank you for the stars. Okay, so I'm going to start with my blue. I'm going to go ahead and just hit my blue because it's probably going to take more than one coat. Rima said when she cleans her studio, she can't find her stuff after that. So, hello, Jerry. So I'm going to start with my blue, and I'm going to start there because I may need to second coat this. And I am wondering where my water went. Heck fire. I know I brought a bottle of water up here. I'm going to have some bad brushes. So I'm going to go ahead and just dip in. I'm going to flip this sideways for a second. Just easier to paint that way. And go ahead and just fill in my blue. And I am going to use a palette knife because y'all know I like it to be loosey-goosey. And so it's better that if you use a palette knife. So I kind of like that look. So I am going to just base in this blue first. And then we'll use a palette knife. So just a wiggly old flag top. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit my sides too. So be patient. Be patient with me. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of bring it down on the sides just real quick. And I won't micromanage that too much till later. Okay, let me do this too. I I can hear myself in the background. It's driving me crazy. But if I turn the volume all the way off, it makes it like closed caption. That makes me crazier. Okay, so now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to grab my palette knife, and I'm going to use the palette knife. I'm just using a plastic palette knife, just a small point. And I'm going to start laying in my red. Okay, so I'm just going to scoop up the red on the back side of my palette knife, and I'm just going to squiggle the red into our stripes. Now I'm not going to worry too much about getting into my blue because we are going to kind of run those together a little bit anyway. And I'm also not going to worry about 100% coverage. So you see how I have a little bit of my canvas white showing through there. I'm going to leave that just like it is for now. Okay, so we're going to come back and do the next red. Just easy peasy. Using a palette knife kind of gives you permission to be a little messy, doesn't it? All right, so we'll come down here. See, that's why I had to mark my red stripes with an R so I wouldn't be crazy. Be painting the whole thing red. In the cape, oh, I'm so ready for summer or freedom or whatever. Can't complain too much though, because most of the restrictions have been lifted here. You know, there are still lots of restrictions. Like I went to lunch today to a restaurant. We did eat on the patio. But they take your temperature before you can come in the door. And I'm like, what? What? So, and it's like half capacity. You can only have so many people in your restaurant in the door still, which I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the restrictions. I don't mind. Just come on. Let's get back to normal. I don't know if you can see how thick I'm applying this paint. So it really has some texture to it. It's not just a thin layer. I'm laying it on fairly thick to give it a little bit of dimension. So it'll kind of be a little bumpy. I need more red. We'll leave those spots. Let me add a little bit more red. Locked down tight. Oh my God, I'd have to move. And then I heard somewhere along the line that California was going to be on lockdown till the end of August. Is that true? Holy moly. I'd be like packing up. That's crazy pants. So I'm just going to fill in all of this red stripe. Make sure if you've traced on your stripes, make sure you're covering those trace lines with the red because the white won't hide them as well. But it also depends on, you know, what paint you're using and how thick you're putting it on. So we're going to leave that a little splotchy there. Now I'm going to come back with a clean knife. Since I forgot my water, I'm going to grab a clean knife. I heard that also, yeah. Gosh. Okay, so now I'm going to fill in with white, and then we're going to start the magic, okay? This is just like the basics. I'm going to go ahead, fill in Ooh, I almost went into the blue. So we're gonna fill in, we're gonna rub that right together. I'm gonna get that red off. Just smear it right together so you can see how when I hit that white up next to the red, it kind of blended together. I love that. So we're gonna continue that. So I wiped it off on my table because it did have the red mix in it and I don't want it on my entire piece. So I'm gonna start in the middle. And then we'll sneak up next to the red on both sides. Now you see, I want to show you up close how it kind of blended in on that second white stripe. Love that. Love it. I'm going to wipe that off. I need a napkin. I think I left all my stuff downstairs on the stair rail. Just add some white. I'm going to flip this real quick. Just easier to do that way, to pull that this way than the other. While I got it turned this way, I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Start in the middle. That way you're not smearing red everywhere. And then sneak up on the edge. Oops. See, I got a lot of red in that, but I like it. See? I know it's upside down. Let's fix that. So it kind of starts blending the colors together, which I like. And then I'm about to start blending them on purpose. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a tiny bit, I'm gonna do this blue again in just a second, but while I have this palette knife, I'm gonna get a tiny, just a teeny, tiny drop of blue on my palette knife. Smear it around. That way I have just a very small amount and I am going to just run it. Can you see that whole thing? No? I'm going to just kind of run it in between, wiping off, and pat it out so it minimizes how much is on your knife. And I will hit a couple of spots with that blue. Dot, and it just gives it a little more interest, I think. And all right, let me clean that up really well. And I'm going to kind of do the same thing with some red. So I'm going to get just a tiny bit, hang on, a tiny bit of red on the back of my palette knife. I'll smear it around so it's just very minimal, and then we'll hit some white. We'll just tickle in a little bit of red on the white. And if that's a little too much, that's a little excessive, but we can fix it. I'm not worried. I'm gonna get just some white on a palette knife and just blend it back in over the top. See, easy fix. Going through some palette knives. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this around just so I can get to this corner, and I'm gonna add some more blue again with a palette knife. Where is this? Thinking. So I'm gonna use another palette knife, and I'm just going to put another coat of blue on and blend that also into the other colors. So it's not quite so messy looking. So I'm just, see how I'm just kind of pushing it in on that edge where the blue meets the stripes. I'm just kind of pushing it. Hang on, I need more blue. Then we're gonna add a little touch of gold. So let me get the blue on. And I want to get as close as I can, and then I'll work that blue into the stripes. So I'm just going to get it on my palette knife, and then I'm just pushing. Kind of pushing it into the colors. So it kind of blends it right on that edge. I'll show you up close in just a second, kind of what I'm doing. All right, so let me pick this up so you can kind of see how it blended that into the red and blue. But what I can also do is come back and just push it back this way again too. So we'll push back in. And we'll do white as well. And it also leaves that little bit of a blended color. I stick and love this. All right, so this is gonna take a while to dry, so what I have are just two strips of kind of a royal blue, borderline cobalt colored glass. And I am going to put those off center because I want it to be a little off center. I don't know why, 100%. I just kind of like the idea of it being a little off center of the flag, so the flag's not completely hidden. So, hello Susan, hey Candy, how are you? Hello Cheryl. Yeah, Darlene, it does look better, doesn't it? So what I'm gonna do, because both of these pieces of blue I have are pretty much the same size, I am going to make them a little off kilter, okay? So I'm dropping one of my glass pieces down about 1.5 inches, and so it's gonna come down longer than the other one. So what I wanna do is just put some glue on the back of this, all right? So, what I'm using is Aleene's clear tacky glue that comes from Hobby Lobby, and I just buy this by the gallons just about and refill my little bottles because you can get a bigger bottle for a little cheaper. So I'm just going to add a little glue just to keep it upright for a few minutes. Oh, that's awesome, Johnny. I'd love that. So I am going to put my vertical pieces a little off kilter, a little off center. And I'm going to just press them down just for a few seconds. Yay, Sandy, I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad. Yes, your Mother's Day gift to yourself. I don't blame you. That's how it works sometimes. So I'm just going to press for a few seconds just to let that glue catch. And then we're going to add in our horizontal pieces. I like to do 2 pieces on each side, and they vary in length. As you can see, they're all different sizes. So I like to put maybe 2 longs and 2 shorts on each one. So I'll just grab up 2 of those, put a couple of dots of glue just to help keep them secure. I'll hold that down. I might need a dot between them because they want to fall apart. And I'll show you what I did in just a second. So if you put just one tiny dot right on one piece and then sandwich that together, it'll kind of make those stick together better. So now let's put just a couple of dots of glue on the bottom of those pieces. And we will add those right here. Now I gotta stand up so I can look over the top and make sure they're straight. They look great. So I'm gonna just press down, make sure they're stuck to the canvas. And now what I like to do is just add a little something in that center intersection. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Is that close enough? Let me move, see if I can get a little bit closer. So what I like to do is add a little nugget of glass to the center of my cross, just as a little accent. So I have a couple of just little clear glass nuggets that I can add to my cross. And what I like to do is add a tiny bit of glue on the cross, right in the middle, and then I'll come in and also add glue to the underside of that little nugget, and we'll just stick him right in place. And last but not least, I want to add some crushed glass. Is that a little better? Good, good. It's hard to get really super close. I can't find my glue top. So now what I like to do is add some crushed glass just around the cross. But what I'm going to add is going to be Starfire, which is super clear. Okay, so Starfire is colorless. It is just clear as clear can be. And I want to use clear. Normally I would use whatever color glass strips I used. I will use, yes, Nancy, it will be. Whatever glass cross I do, I usually do that, the crushed glass in the same, but I really want the flag to pop through. So I'm gonna use the clear instead, because that will allow the flag, the color of the flag to show through. So I like to just add a little bit of glass all the way around, top, bottom, sides. I like to bring it down. I'm almost out of this clear up here. I like to bring it down kind of close to the bottom, and I don't try not to micromanage that too much. Just kind of let it be however it's going to be. So, can you see that nicely? Hey, Diane. Hey, Teresa. So I'm going to show you a little. I'm going to turn it this way so you can kind of see close up what it looks like. So it's just clear over the top of the flag so that we can still see our stars and stripes through that. Okay, so now we can just go ahead and resin. So I don't need much resin at all. I'm thinking 1 ounce or less. So I am going to mix in my little baby cups, okay? These are 1 ounce little medicine cups. So I can just mix right into there and not waste or mess up my fancy cups. So, but I also have some Burt Mac, I guess that's how you pronounce that, is Gina here. Miss Gina Willikers, G Willikers or Gina, sent me these. They are, this is one of her products in her product line, and they are organic wipes. So what I'm going to use these to clean my gloves after I'm done resining, because I'm getting really low on gloves. So, and I haven't been able to find any. I do have some on order on Amazon, but it's going to be a hot minute before it gets here. So I'm going to put my gloves on. Isn't it cute? I love it. Want to do one more. I was thinking about trying to do one more patriotic thing before Memorial Day, but the days keep like catching up with me too fast, or happening too fast. I'm going to see if I can get a teeny bit closer. We'll just keep moving up. Let's see if that's better. But it just dawned on me that 4th of July is coming up too, so we could do that next week, and it won't be Memorial Day. It'll be for 4th of July. So let me see. I want to make sure you guys can see this. Yes. Try to get a little bit closer. If I get any closer, the camera will be in the way of my iPad. So that's probably about the best I'm going to be able to do. All right, so we're going to go ahead and mix resin. Aren't they great? I love them too. They're spectacular. So we're going to go ahead and mix. Yes, I did. It is a 6 by 12, Darlene. It is a 6 by 12. I'm not going to put any stars on. I just did gold dots on the flag because I want the focus kind of to be the cross. So I'm going to leave it as is. The stars are like a little bit of white and a little bit of gold paint. And I don't want to take away from the cross, so I'm going to leave it kind of like it is. But you do you, girl. You do you. So let me find, I'm going to have to mark on my cups my measurement because once they kind of don't show up very well. So let me mark my measurement. That way I can see. So I'm using art resin as per usual. So I'm going to go ahead and pour the 1/2 ounce of hardener up to my little line I just marked. Ooh, hang on, I gotta go slow. I'm almost there. Almost there. Stop, 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 stop. Okay, now that is a 1/2 ounce of hardener. And I'm gonna set that here, and then we'll do a 1/2 ounce of the resin. Get that right on the dot. So I need to micromanage this. I don't want to go over. Hang on. Ooh. Hang on. Let's see if it grows a little. It's growing. Perfect. So that will be 1 full ounce. We have a 1/2 ounce of hardener and a 1/2 ounce of resin. So I'm just going to dump one into the other. It's going to be a little bit of a full cup, but we're going to work with it. Normally you would want to have more empty space in your cup for mixing purposes, but we're going to just deal with it. I'm a professional. See now something's going to go wrong because I said that. I was just kidding. I was being a little silly, but just because I said that, the poop is probably going to hit the fan. Okay, so we've got both parts mixed together, and now it is time to stir. Rima, are you here, babe? Are you here? Nicole, I'm not sure how much resin, 1 ounce, how much for the piece of art. I'm not sure what the how much is. If you're interested in a Memorial Day piece, which is the abstract flag with the cross on top, you can send me a private message and I will make you one personal. Lisa got hers painted today. We'll add the cross tomorrow. Okay, Rima, I'm stirring, babe. Stirring. Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Rima. So I'm stirring. So what you're going to do with your resin is, number one, whatever resin you're using, you need to follow the directions for that particular resin. Now, I always use art resin. It is my go-to always and forever, unless something horrible happens or unless somebody comes up with something better. And this is the best I've ever used. So it's a 50-50 mix, and you need to stir it slowly and methodically for 3 minutes to blend all the parts together. Okay, so we're going to mix for our 3 minutes. Rhonda, we do have some kits on my website. We are working on some other kits as well, but you know how slow that can be. But we do have some kits on the website at artresin.com. I think we have a seahorse, we have trees. I can't remember what kits we have, a cross. So you might want to check artshattered.com and see what kits we have. And if there's not what you're looking for, just let me know, and we'll be glad to, if we can, put whatever kind of kit you're looking for in the hat. We'll add it to our list. So we aim to please. Thank you, Candy. It's going to be even more beautiful once we get this resin on, because if you've done a resin piece at all, you know that the resin is like the piece de resistance. Workshop at 1, yeah, every Wednesday. Wow, hey Judy too. I didn't know that, Catherine. Of course, I live in my own crazy, insane glass world, so sometimes I miss those things. So also, while I'm talking and while we're waiting on the 3 minutes, I want to tell you one more thing. Yes, Jean, I know. Isn't that awful? I actually have some yellow pieces too from other people's resin that I need to fix. So, wanted to let you know that the Shattered Circle, our membership site, is open right now for new members. We would love to have you join us. I will post a link. Thank you, Rima. Rima said time's up. If you are interested in more information about our membership for the Shattered Circle, where we do beautiful works of art every month, just comment shattered, the word shattered, and I will get you a link with all the information. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is because we've been open. We're normally only open a couple of days, a couple of times a year for new members, because once we have our members in, we like to really focus and love on those people in our membership and give them all the things. But we have been open since the beginning of April just to accommodate some of these people who are spending a lot of time at home, and we just felt like there was a need for us to be open. But we are going to close the doors on May 31st so that we can focus more on giving our members what they need. We have several new members, and sometimes when there's just a new member every other day, there becomes a lot of confusion. So we want to be able to focus a lot of attention on our members so that they can be successful glass artists and not be confused. So we are going to close on May 31st. So if you're interested, just comment the word shattered, and I will get you some information, and you can look at that and see if you are interested in joining us before we close. Now, we won't open again for new members probably until September, so don't miss out. Okay, so basically I've just already started, but I'm just putting the resin on top of all the glass pieces. Just started at the top and working my way down to make sure all our glass is covered with the resin. Can go over lanais. You mean go in a lanai? Like be outside? Direct sunlight, Judy, direct sunlight always makes resin yellow faster. All resins have a yellowing factor. I don't know that I would put a piece in direct sunlight. I think it's going to make it amber faster than it would if it was like in the shade or in the house. But I have seen pieces outside a million times. I actually have a door hanger on my front door. If it's covered, I think it should be fine. I have a door hanger. I don't get a lot of direct sun on my front door, but I do have a door hanger on my door. It's a flower that is resined, and it's perfectly fine. So now what I've done, and I still have just a teeny smidge of this resin left, maybe 1/8 of an ounce. So about 1 ounce is right. So what I'm gonna do is just rub this in with my fingers. I'm gonna minimize how much touching I do with my gloves so I can kind of save it. So I can save my glove. So all I'm doing is smearing some of that resin around to kind of make sure that my entire canvas is covered so that it looks uniform. Now here's what I don't worry about. Once I get it covered, and if I see when it's dry that I missed some tiny little pinhole or some tiny little spot, I do not stress about that, okay? And I don't want you guys to either. This is a man-made piece of art, and it's never, ever, ever gonna be perfect. Embrace the flaws, embrace the handmade quality, and don't stress yourself about perfection. Okay, so all of that is covered. I'm gonna use my wipe to get the resin off my gloves. I didn't put a hanger on my 5x7. I actually, Judy, I call those shelf sitters. And, oh, Nicole, that would be so sweet. Just send me a private message, babe. I call those shelf sitters, Judy, and I don't normally put hangers on the backs of those, but if I were you, if you wanted something to hang it with, I would just put one of those alligator hangers. Do you know what I'm talking about? They look like teeth. Those little, let me see if I can get these gloves off. Salvage my gloves. The little alligator hangers. I don't know exactly what they're called, but they're kind of shaped like, you know, like this. You know what I'm talking about? So I would maybe hammer one of those into the top. So this looks great. I need to elevate because it does have a good amount of resin on it and I don't want it to mess up and run down and glue it to my canvas. And the last thing we're gonna do is hit it with a little torching, just a smidge. We're not gonna stress about torching this a whole lot because bear claw hangers. Sawtooth, thank you. Yeah, y'all know what I was talking about. So I'm just gonna hit this a little bit. I'm not too stressed about popping all the bubbles in this because it has so much texture that, you know, even if you had some bubbles, it's probably not gonna show up. Be super careful when you're torching and you wanna keep your torch moving constantly and keep the flame off of your art piece because the fire from the torch will burn your art piece if you leave it sitting on there too long. You can also use like a heat gun or one of those tiny little creme brulee type torches. So hang on, I want to get this, whatever this is, out. I got a little, some debris in here. Let me kind of look it over and make sure I don't have any more.